after coming from a space where he was promoting all kinds of foods, he's trying to figure out how to navigate this new approach to life.
It was my dream to work with food. Food was always my passion in life. Food addiction was my problem my whole life. It was always so hard to do diets. So basically I started to pray to God so much, asking for help. After a few days, I just saw a video about carnivore diets on YouTube, and it's something that I never researched about.
This video is brought to you by Purely Tallow Skincare. And with skincare, the rule is simple. If you wouldn't eat it, you shouldn't put it on your skin. That's why we make all of our products with 100% grass-fed beef tallow. We also use emu oil and even wild camel hump fat in some of our lotions. Check out our website at purelytallow.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Carnivore Revolution. I'm Serena, and today my guest is Rafael. Now, Rafael has been on the carnivore diet for about 6 months. And after coming from a space where he was promoting all kinds of foods, he's trying to figure out how to navigate this new approach to life. And so we wanted to hear about his success story and see how he's dealing with all of that. Rafael, thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you, Serena, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here in your podcast and talk about carnivore diets, because it's been actually a huge change in my whole life, and especially professionally speaking as well, because before that I used to, as you said, work as marketing. I have a marketing agency for the food industry for almost 10 years. In London, I have been working so hard to build it, and that was my dream, to work with food, because food was always my passion in life. So I thought that we have to work with what we love. So I decided, well, if I love food, I will work with food. So I found a way to work with the food industry. I started creating content on social media. I end up today having a marketing agency for the food industry, including food brands, big brands, small brands, and restaurants. On top of that, food addiction was my problem my whole life. I think since I was 5 years old, I had this food addiction problem where I couldn't stop eating at all, especially sugars and carbohydrates. And I tried to control the situation along with the years. And I remember when I was 13 years old, I was already an obese teenager back in the time, and I managed to overcome that. And I lost a lot of weight. I was also growing up, but the food addiction never left myself. I was suffering with this for my whole life. So even if I managed to have like a skinny body when I was 13, 14, but I remember that after 2 years, 3 years, my weight started to come back, because I went back to the food addiction very quickly. As soon as I lost the weight, I started to eat again the crap food, the sodas, the sugar, the fast food, the processed food. And I remember that back in the time I was starting to use the internet as well. So I was also looking for diets and everything. And I managed to do many, many diets in my whole life. So I managed to control my weight until now, like after 20 years of doing diets. But that was never easy. It was always so hard to do diets, to, count calories or to just eat small portions or skip some meals. I always thought I had to eat less fat as well. I was always avoiding fat in general. And so cutting the carbohydrates were always a difficult thing to do. And as soon as I would get what I wanted to be, I lost a few pounds, or I would straight away go back to my normal diet. I would count the days actually for the junk day, when I could just go and eat all the fast food and sweets that I could. And when this day, I don't know, I would try anything, let's say once a week, I would do my junk food, day. And then I would go and I would destroy all the chocolates and all the sweets, all the pizzas, all the, anything that was very bad to us. And I would, because I only had that 2 days, so I think this behavior might connect with a lot of people, because if you have been there, you know what it means, You just destroy for 2 days, the health for years, and then you go back on Monday for the normal routine. That it's very that I used to suffer a lot, and I believe everyone that tried the normal diets used to suffer a lot, mentally, emotionally, physically. So yeah, in the last year, I was a bit depressed because again, I was like feeling fat. I was overweight. My mental health was not okay. I was consuming so much caffeine because of the amount of food that I was eating. I had to drink like 6, 7 cups of coffee per day just to manage it, to go on with my day. Because I was also eating a lot. I thought it was health to eat more times per day. So I was eating like 7 times per day, including like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plus the snacks and shakes and, fruit. It would be like 7 times per day. And like to compensate that, I would drink a lot of coffee. Yeah, despite all the diets that I have been doing, I was again in a very bad position that I was like almost 100 kilograms. And my work as well with the food industry made me even more addictive. So what I thought was a dream, but it was my passion, to work with the food, to be able to try all the food in the world, to be able to go to the restaurants and eat everything and just do a video for them because I thought it was so nice. Like look at all these people, they just go to the restaurant, they do a video for them in exchange of all the food. Like that's heaven, And this dream became like a nightmare in the last year, in 2024, in December, when I saw myself depressed and I was sad and I was not happy with my job anymore because my food addiction was over the roof and I just had no control anymore, because if you are watching this video and if you suffer with food addiction, you know how difficult it is to control it at home. Even like if you have control of the groceries that you buy, but maybe you have some family or friends that live with you as well, so you have no control of what comes to your house. But imagine it on top of that, also working with the food industry, while almost every day you go to a different restaurant, to a different client, or you're doing a different partnership with a food brand that will send you a lot of food in your house. So I lost control and I said, wow, okay, so I have been struggling with food addiction for the last 20 years. And but it's okay when you're 15, 16 or 20s, your body it managed to deal with that somehow. Well, I don't know how to be honest now, but it managed to. No, I think it's a new car. Even if you put it like in a bad road, it's gonna go. But then after like so many years, I realized that my body was not reacting the same anymore. And I just thought like, if I spend my next 10 years in the same way that I'm living my life right now, it's gonna go really wrong because I'm already feeling the damage that I have been making my whole life at 35. So if I'm already feeling like this now, I'm gonna feel really, really bad at 45 or 55. And plus I have a lot of family history as well, like with my mom, with my grandma, who had like diabetes, or my mom that had dementia. And so this kind of thing, like I always stayed myself because for a long time I had to take care of my mom as well with serious health issues. Mostly, I believe, for diets as well. I know there are more things involved, but I remember her poor diet her whole life. And this all makes sense today. So basically, I started to pray to God so much, asking for help, like to show me another way, because I was not happy anymore. And it's crazy, but after a few days, I just saw a video about carnivore diets on YouTube, and it's something that I never researched about. YouTube likes to send you what the algorithm that you normally see, But back in the time, I had no carnivore videos at all. But then suddenly I saw this video and it got my attention. I decided to watch it. And it was maybe a long video, like 15, 20 minutes. And there was a doctor explaining all the things about carnivore diets. And by the end of the video, I said, wow, this makes totally sense. And because I was already feeling so bad, I said, what can go wrong? And I'm someone that I've already tried so many diets for the past 10 years. So this is just going to be another diet. And yeah, let's just give it a try. So first, I spent like almost a full month studying like nonstop. I couldn't even work or study. I couldn't concentrate something else. I was just studying and watching all the podcasts and reading everything I could about carnivore diet. And then after that, I said, okay, I think I have a good knowledge now, at least the basics to start for the first month. And then, I just decided to try it and it changed my entire life. So I thought it was only another diet coming to my life. But then when I realized it, it changed myself completely. Like I got the like in a month, I lost a lot of weight. I decreased the caffeine so much. Like to be honest, I stopped drinking coffee for like 2 months, and then I decided to reintroduce again after 2 months. But like in the first months or even the first days, I already saw so many benefits. I just couldn't stop anymore. And now it's been like almost 6 months, and I've never felt so good in my entire life, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that. And what you were saying earlier about the like going off on the weekends and eating whatever you want, you tend to binge. It's like that cycle of binging and restricting. And a lot of us that have had eating disorders or disordered eating pasts know what that feels like. And I like to tell people, if you have ever, like, I really believe that if you have ever sat in front of a television and eaten an entire bag of potato chips, if you do that on a regular basis, you have a binge eating disorder. And they make those potato chips like that on purpose so that you eat as many as humanly possible. They do that on purpose to us to get us to buy more and to eat more of their products. And so I think most people do have a little bit of binge eating tendencies, even though they would say that they don't. I never would have said that about myself, in the past. At times we say, oh, I just ate a whole bag of chocolates. It's fine. I'll run it off tomorrow or whatever. But most people do that and just don't realize that they're doing that. And it's like, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. If you lost 2 pounds last week because you were doing so well, and then you do that over the weekend and you gain, most of that back, that's no way to live. It's okay to eat more calories a couple of days of the week because that's good for your metabolism, but not doing it on junk food.
Yes, my whole life I have been so bad. And it's funny because for a long time I was very passionate about psychology, spirituality, philosophy, because I wanted to become a better person. Or let's say I had like a little bit of a rebel teenager, knowing my 12, 13, 14, a very bad behaviors, like to the point that I studied like in more than 10 different schools because of my teenager behavior was so bad that none of the schools in my area would accept me. So I end up going to 10 different schools. And like today, after like so many years, I associated this as well with food. Even if, okay, I had a lot of work on my psychology and mental health and emotional health and spiritual health, but I can see that like the food behavior also had something connected to that, even like to like just having like today I think we can see clearly about like mental disorders, a lot of issues in the brain, or ADHD, or just like all this bad stuff that is happening with our brain in these days. I believe also somehow they are also connected with the food that we are eating. But 20 years ago, 25 years ago, my parents had no idea about that. And I ended up going to many, many schools. I never went to a psychologist back in the time, so I had to figure out it myself. And anyway, I spent so many years like reading everything about spirituality, philosophy, and psychology. And I managed to overcome a lot of my issues, my mental issues that I had as a teenager. But I stopped to pay attention in my physical body. No, I thought like, okay, if I just sort out my emotional issues, my mental issues, my spiritual issues, I will be able to develop myself. And the physical body is not that important. I can sort it after. So I was studying all this, but I was still eating crap food, junk food, fast food, and sugars especially. But now that I finally got to the point that I need to take care of my physical body, because like this is our vehicle, no, in this world, and it's so important for us. I decided to stop everything, and put my physical health finally at top of my priorities. And that's when the carnivore arrived in my life. Now, after 6 months, I clearly can see how they are all connected, and we cannot take care only of one of the sides. No, they are all connected. So I think that was my biggest mistake. If I knew that in the past, I would try to take care of all them together. But yeah, what we eat, not like I used to hear, no, that we are what we think, no, and also we are what we eat. But today I believe so much that maybe what we eat is stronger than even what we think or what we feel, because it's directly to everything. Like whatever we put inside our mouth, it just goes to our body, and it's gonna get bad or good.
Yeah, you absolutely are what you eat. And it's so important to make sure that we're nourishing our body. If we're eating mostly processed food and mostly fast food, we're not getting the vitamins and the nutrients that we need. And there are actually studies that show people who are vegans and vegetarians do have more mental health problems than people who eat a diet rich in animal protein. The animal protein is more bioavailable for our bodies and can just get in there and fix your brain. Like my brain is so much different than it was before. So much different. So I'm so glad that in all of those ways, you're feeling better, you're healthier, your mental health is better. Did you have a hard time transitioning? Because that transition for some people can be so difficult to transition from, the normal foods that you're eating, whatever that might be, even if it's like, a healthy, what we normally thought of as healthy, like lots of fruits and vegetables and lean meats, or if you're coming from a junk food diet, that transition can be hard. So did you have a hard time with that at all?
For me, just the first week was a little bit difficult. Precisely the first 5 days was more difficult because, yeah, I think that the lack of sugar and carbohydrates, and in my case, I decided to remove the caffeine as well at the same time. So I think I felt the collaterals a little bit stronger than the normal because I just decided to, remove everything at once. But at the same time, it was only for 5 days, and at least these really horrible days when I felt like lack of energy, I felt dizziness, I felt like tired. I wanted to sleep. At some point, I remember one of the days, like I think it was day 3 or day 4, or I had to stop my day and just lay down on the floor because I've said I'm gonna fall here because I was so dizzy and so like out of balance. Yeah, I remember, like, I think day 2, I just went to have a nap and I slept like for a few hours in the afternoon, which I normally don't do. And the day 3, I had this thing of just laying down on the floor and like stop everything, like let's do what I have to do after. And I stayed there for a good minutes, and then I start to feel myself again, and I managed to get up and continue with the day. But and of course, yeah, because it's like it's an addiction, no? So when we remove it, we're gonna feel that the lack of the sugar and the carbohydrates and the coffee, especially if you also remove the coffee.
Yeah.
But I also, because I have been doing diets for the past 20 years, so I had a little bit of experience with diets. So it's like, okay, I know how my body behaves. When I just cut calories, I'm gonna feel bad. I'm gonna feel tired. I'm gonna feel, lack of energy. That's normal. So this helped me to, to deal with the situation mentally. And before carnivore, I was already in a low carb, health diet, that I thought was health, like full of oats and fruits and grains. Like when I mean grains, I mean like beans, chickpeas, or lentils. I thought this was healthy for us. So that was my health diet before starting carnivore. So yeah, I was already without the sugar. So I was already like for at least 2 months on a low carb, without sugar at least. So it helped me. But even if like that, I also felt very bad at the first week at least. But after that, it became normal. I started to feel better. I started to feel more energy. Like now, I didn't have the coffee. So yeah, also, what helped me was I started to increase the salt, like the a good quality salt in the water and in the food. And I also started to increase the fat. I think that was my mistake in the first week because I was always afraid of fat and I didn't know how much fat I could eat. Even if I heard everybody talking about fat, eat fat, eat fat, eat fat, I was afraid to eat, like so much fat. So I think that was a mistake as well in my first week. But in the second week, as soon as I increased the amount of fat and salt, I felt very good.
That's amazing. And the withdrawals are no joke. I mean, the withdrawals can be pretty serious for some people, especially if you add the caffeine withdrawals into it. But that transition of your body going from burning carbohydrates into burning fat for fuel can definitely be a hard one. And I've seen people have issues for a month of just being like really tired as their body transitions before you become fat adapted. And then your body knows what it's doing and knows, what kind of fuel it wants to burn. So that can definitely be a hard transition. So people always say, like, I'm sure your friends and family gave you a hard time about. Everybody thinks you're going to die from a heart attack. Everybody wants you to research it. Everybody wants to research it before they try it. But the funny thing is those same people are eating Pop-Tarts. They're eating McDonald's. They're eating all of these other things that have just become normal without researching them. But then everybody gives you a hard time for doing this when really this is our ancestral appropriate diet. This is how people used to eat before all of those foods were available. So how did you deal with that with friends and family? I mean, do people think you're a little nuts?
Well, I think with friends was a little bit easier because most of the friends that know me for a long time, they know me that I was always a little bit different in general. So I think for them was not something super new, no? Like, oh, it's okay. Rafa is already like crazy, in a good way. Like he always tries, different things. So, but he's conscious. Like he researched a lot. He doesn't do something that is just like, okay, let's try it. But I never heard about it before. No, I always spend so many times. I'm quite nerd. Like I love studying some things, especially nutrition and health in general. But I think the hardest time was with my wife because she's a doctor, and she, as most of the doctors, they learn like completely the opposite in the university. So, and it's hard for them to understand what we are talking about right now. Of course, some of them they manage to get outside of the box, and then they see what we are discussing. But she gave me a hard time at the beginning because she thought I would die or I would get sick, for lack of fiber, for lack of vitamin C, for lack of all the other nutrients that she thought were necessary, or also for the amount of meat and fat that I was eating, that it would like just block my veins or my arteries, like so yeah, she was very worried. And because of her, I also have a lot of friends that are doctors, so all of them were also worried. Some of them were curious. Oh, that's curious, that makes sense. But some of them was like, no way, man, this is gonna kill you. This is gonna okay, you're losing weight, okay, I can see your abs, but you're gonna get sick in the long time. So yeah, but I was already like, today we have internet and we have so much information that if you want, you can just learn whatever you want. And just, and I think we are the scientists of our own bodies, and we can, we don't need to stay only in the theory. We can apply it to ourselves, then we can see how we feel. And this nobody can tell us, like how, like if you feel great, if you feel better than like 10 years ago when I was in my 20s, full of, crap food. Like, how can someone tell you the opposite,
Yeah. So what about backtracking? Have you had any backtracks, slip ups, gone off the deep end at all?
I had like at least twice. One of them was like when I was on holidays that I just decided to open myself because I was in Greece, and there was a first time in that city with so much different types of food. I just decided to give it a try because I was already like for 4 months in the carnivore. I managed to clean my body. I managed to get the results that I was expecting. To be honest, when I started it, I didn't know all of the good things that this would provide me. I just started as another diet because I wanted to lose 10 kilograms and get my abs back. I was very bloated and fat and unhappy with my body, as I have been my whole life, because I never managed to get rid of that bloated, by the way. And then I just wanted to do that, and I managed to. I could see my abs. I could and I managed to lose, to help some things that I didn't even expect, like the dandruff. I had like dandruff in my hair for my whole life, and this just disappeared suddenly as a bonus. I said, "Oh, what about that dandruff? Like it just doesn't exist anymore." Wow, that was a bonus. And then some allergy in my hands as well that got much better. But then, yeah, at this point, I said, okay, I'm here for a week. I want to have some things, and I decided to eat some sugar, again, and I felt bad, like it didn't go very well. Like like bloated stomach, diarrheas, a little bit of heartburn as well, if I ever did it. But I think it's nice as well. What is good of the carnivore is that it's so good for us in general, and it's amazing as well, and it's so delicious because meats and fats is wow, it's so delicious that it's easy for you to just go back there. It's not like a normal diet that you just go over the weekend and you have like pizza and crap food, and then on Monday you suffer to return. No, carnivore is so good. It's so nice and full of pleasure that you easily can go back.
Yeah, it doesn't usually go well when we go off plan. So what does a typical day of eating look like for you now?
So now I have been eating like twice a day. I feel that I have less hungry now. At the beginning, it was more difficult. I wanted to train my body to do like twice a day, but it took me some time. But now I think I can easily do that because I know already the amounts of food to eat in both meals. So normally I start my day at 12. Like my first meal is at 12. So it's gonna be like a late breakfast and lunch. I normally have a lot of eggs, at least like 7 eggs to 10 eggs, depends of the size of the egg. And then I will have like either a steak or either bacon or either some halloumi cheese. But yeah, normally it's this steak. I mean, maybe a leftover meat from the dinner in the past night, or normally just eggs and bacon and butter and salt, a lot of salt. And then for dinner, it's going to be something more powerful, like a proper meat. I can have any type of meat from the cow or lamb. They are my favorites. And yeah, I love cooking, so it's easy for me as well. I always have a variety of meats at home, and any part of the cow I like. So I might have at least 800 grams of meat, easily full of fat. If I don't have a fat meat, I just put more butter. Yeah, that's basically this.
Amazing. That's a
So
perfect
simple.
the perfect day of eating. So what kind of advice do you have for somebody who's just getting started?
Well, I think first of all, it's easy if you study it first. Do not try to jump on it because you're gonna feel bad. You can even feel sick because if you don't do it properly, you're gonna feel sick probably, and it's gonna go bad. So don't try to just start it because you heard about it today or yesterday. Like give some time to study it and to understand everything. Like of course, if you can pay like a mentoring with someone, or a group like of people that have been in the carnivore lifestyle for longer, so at least they can guide you somehow. But if you can't pay for this kind of thing, just study it. There is a lot of free content on YouTube that can guide you. Like just take your time and study everything, especially everything that's going to happen with you in the first days, in the first week, in the first months. So at least you will be prepared for everything that is happening. And obviously, if you have some serious health issue, I would not recommend you to just start like without any knowledge, or at least talking to a carnivore doctor, or a normal doctor might give you a hard time if you tell them. But at least like a nutritionist or a doctor that have experience in the carnivore lifestyle, at least they're going to guide you with that, because depends of the health issue. Even if I believe that this lifestyle is good for 99% of people, even if you have some health issues, but because I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, I would recommend you to double check with your doctor or something like that. But if your health is good and you're just trying to, get yourself to another level, I would 100% recommend you to just study it before you start it.
Okay. And where can people find you, Raphael?
So I have a podcast as well about this, because this changed my life so much that I started a podcast in English, and then also another one in Portuguese for Brazilian people, because my background is from Brazil. But my podcast is the ancestral health podcast. This is my podcast about carnivore diet, and I also have my Instagram, which is Rafael Camargo FT. That's it.
Awesome. So you guys go find Raphael, give him a follow. This was so awesome. Thank you so much. I hope maybe we helped some people today with your advice, having been a newcomer to the carnivore diet. Sometimes I think that's the best advice, because as a carnivore, like when I first came in, I remember seeing people who had just started, or it had been several months for them, and like that seemed doable to me. But watching people that had been doing it for like 10 or 12 years, it was so hard for me to wrap my mind around that, and it felt like so long. So I always think it's good to have these stories and ideas and helpful tips from somebody who has kind of just started too. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Serena, for having me here. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time on the Carnivore Revolution.